Well, all right! Welcome back to As It Should Be. Paul Bertolino here in the world-famous As It Should Be studios. Crystal Durant.
Right over there.
Tommy Von Voigt.
Right over here.
Right over there.
Yeah, and we have come to the last episode of our Live Albums of the Year series, which is sort of morphed into Live Albums of the Decade because, today we're going to do our favorite live albums of the 80s.
Yes, the whole
no individual
thing.
year bullshit. We're just doing the 80s as one giant chunk.
One big thing.
Yep.
Yeah. We're treating the 80s like the 60s, which is sacrilege, but, you know, what are we going to do?
I don't want to unpack this. Let's move on.
Well, and the way to do that is to go right to Crystal. Who starts?
Oh, it's me?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's you, Crystal.
I was not expecting that. Okay. So I have two runners-up,
Okay.
and that is Live in New York by Joe Cocker and the YMO World Tour, the Yellow Magic Orchestra.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
World Tour
damn.
1980. Yeah.
Yellow Magic Orchestra.
It's good.
Wow.
I love them. Sakamoto, come on. Son.
All right. All right.
And what's the other one? Takahashi?
Harumi Hosono and Takahashi. I know his name, but it's not coming to me
it doesn't
right
come
now.
to me. But
Because
anyway,
the red light's on, so.
yeah, it's really good. Okay, so I have 5 for my list. Coming in at number 5, I have "Captured" by Journey. It came out in 1981.
Oh, yeah.
So these were shows that were done in Detroit and Montreal and Tokyo in 1980. They were all kick-ass shows. I think they picked the best shows from that tour. The versions of the songs are great, and if you never got to see Journey live, listen to this record and you'll get it. You can feel the energy between Steve and his tuxedo jacket and his cheetah print sleeveless t-shirt with the audience. And it was really good.
I failed to explore that one for this.
Well, get on it.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard it before, but it's been so long.
Yeah, you gotta check it out. And also, this album was dedicated to Bon Scott. Did you know that?
That I did not know.
They were good friends with AC/DC.
Yeah, you can see pictures that there were on the West Coast. They had the Day on the Green festivals, and there was a show that both bands were on, and you can see shots of AC/DC on stage with Steve Perry like right on the side, that like watching them with a big smile on his face.
They hung
Yeah.
tough. Yeah, and so
that's cool.
They dedicated this album to him because he died in February of 1980, the year before, and this was the last Journey album for Greg Raleigh.
Yes.
Which is very sad. Bummer.
And it has a new studio track at the end that's...
Not so great.
It's okay. It's not bad. There are worse.
It's not what I'm there for.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also not what you're there for.
Coming in at number 5, I have Under a Blood Red Sky by U2.
Well, better that one than another one we could
Hey
discuss.
man, it was 1983. It only has 8 songs on it. It was mostly recorded in Germany, and then they did the stuff at Red Rocks that the video is of Red Rocks, live at Red Rocks. And it's U2 at their 80s zenith period, I believe. And I like it. At regular watchers, you know that I am a champion of U2. A lot of people hate them.
Now, I don't remember, is it between War and Unforgettable Fire or between Unforgettable Fire and Joshua Tree? I don't remember.
I think
It's before Unforgettable Fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Boy, for somebody who hates him, why do you know this?
You know, it's just... Yeah,
That's
I
very
just,
suspect,
I just
isn't it?
remember these things happening at the time. You
I've
know?
got questions now.
Yeah.
Well, you know me. You just asked me about you too.
I'm
I'll tell
sure
you.
if we dig around behind those records back there, you're going to have the whole catalog. All right, coming in at number 4, I have Oscar Peterson, Jazz, live at the North Sea Jazz Festival. As Tommy spontaneously combusts and burns up. It's Oscar Peterson.
Oh, well,
come on,
since you put it
Tommy.
that way.
What does he play?
Tommy.
Trombone.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, it was from 1980. And Joe Paz, Toots Thielmans was in this band. And Niels Henning Orsted. It's Oscar Peterson live. It's fantastic. Have you heard this?
No, I'm just noting that you've gone back to the classic.
Yeah.
You know, as a
You
review,
reminded
so.
me. Yeah. It's great. Oscar Peterson is fucking awesome. Coming in at number 3, I have A Black and White Night Live, Roy Orbison.
Oh, I was not even aware of this one.
Oh, really? Did you ever see the show that they did?
You know, I'm not that big. I'm not much of a Roy Orbison fan.
Oh, okay.
So I could miss a lot of stuff with him.
So the show was shot in 1987. Those of you who are old enough remember this being on VH1. It was a big VH1 event. And then eventually they put it on MTV. So this was the resurgence of Roy Orbison. He came back because one of his songs was in a movie or something like that. I can't remember exactly.
He was on the Less Than Zero soundtrack, wasn't he?
I think so.
With a song that Glenn Danzig wrote for him.
Right.
Oh, yeah, something like that. So this was a renaissance of Roy Orbison, and this was before he was in the Traveling Wilburys, and then just like blew the fuck up. So this was his big comeback show. So it had Elvis Costello, it had Elvis's TCB band, members from Elvis Presley's TCB band.
One of those Elvises.
Well, the other one is in it too. Elvis Costello, Bruce Springsteen, Bonnie Raitt, K.D. Lang, Tom Waits, and Jackson Browne, and J.D. Souther, and Stephen Souls. Does everybody know who Stephen Souls is? I know you guys know. Right?
No.
No? He was in the band, Dylan's band. Stephen Souls.
I don't like the band.
Rolling Thunder Review. That's a big debut. Anyway, Roy Orbison, I remember distinctly, was it Tom Petty or Jeff Lynne saying that when they were recording the Traveling Wilburys, or maybe it was George Harrison. It was one of the other guys in the band. But I remember reading this in an article, probably Rolling Stone, and they said that when he was in the booth recording his vocals, at some point when they were doing a round robin thing, standing next to each other, he would walk right up to the mic and they couldn't hear him singing. Like, it was so whisper soft, and then came out like a freight train.
You have to mic him a particular way that you can't mic him along with everybody else, because he needs to be mic'd in a certain way.
Yeah, it was pretty mind-boggling. And then when I saw footage of it, he was like, and then it's like, it was so good. But watch the show, because it's on VHS and Betamax and Laserdisc. Go out there and get it. It's really good. Coming in at number 2, I have The Concert in Central Park by Simon and Garfunkel. I was there.
S and or G.
Yeah. Yeah. I was there for that show amongst 500,000 people on the Great Lawn. And it was pretty fucking unbelievable, because nobody thought that this would happen. They had, not talked to each other for a long time. Then they were together for a couple of years trying to figure something out. And the guy who ran the conservancy for Central Park, it was to raise money to fix Central Park, because it hadn't been touched since the 70s, and it was a piece of shit. Central Park looked like garbage. It was terrible. So for somebody like me who, number one, I don't really like going to outdoor shows. That's not my steez. And number 2, I'm the last person you should ever call to sit on a blanket in the grass anywhere. I don't care where it is. I hate that. But my friends were like, come on, it's Simon and Garfunkel. I'm like, of course I'm going to go fucking see Simon and Garfunkel. I'm not an idiot. So it was September 19th, 1981. And it was 19 or 20 songs. They started at Mrs. Robinson. They ended in Sound of Silence. And let me tell you, when they did The Sound of Silence, you could hear a pin drop.
There wasn't a dry eye in the house.
Yeah, everybody's crying. It was incredibly emotional. Yeah, it was really fantastic. That's one of the few shows that I've actually been really moved to tears. Like the last time I cried at a show was Tom Jones a couple of years ago.
I had a friend who saw it when they did a reunion gig at one of Neil Young's bridge shows, and this would have been in the mid-2000s. Yeah, he said, like they broke into the boxer, and he was just like, whoa! And it's like, who would think you ever see Simon and Garfunkel in front of you fucking doing that shit?
Yeah, it was wild. And, it was a beautiful moment, because it was all races, creeds, and colors and ages sitting together in the park, enjoying these iconic songs. It was really mind-blowing. Yeah, it was good. But my number one live album of the decade,
He's doing drum roll
of
arms.
the 80s, is Stop Making Sense by Talking Heads.
Ah!
Are you surprised by that?
No,
No,
I
not
didn't
really.
even think about it. It didn't even come to mind.
Really? Oh, yeah. So it came out, it was 1984. It was only 9 songs. I think everybody who listens to music has heard this album, I feel like, on a certain level. If you're a certain age, you've had to have. It was huge. And there was a movie. It was great. The best part for me was seeing Bernie Worrell on stage with them, crushing it, just killer. And, it was David Byrne at his kooky 1984 best, and it was the beginning, I feel as though, of what has transpired over the last 20 years with him, with the Broadway show and other concerts, the theme thing he had on the big suit with the gigantic shoulder pads, and, he's a mental patient, so it was great. And I remember when this came out because I was in college working at Listening Booth Records, and I got an advanced copy of it, and I was just like, wow, this is fucking amazing. And then the movie came out, and everybody was running to it, and I was supposed to go out on a date with this guy who kept coming into the record store, this guy, Jim Goad is his name, and he would come in, and me and Tracy and Dorothy, my girlfriends, we worked there, and they were like, oh my god, he's so dreamy, oh, da, da, da. And I was like, yeah, whatever, he's fine. And then he wound up hitting on me instead of the two of them, so they were mad. So then he was like, hey, you want to go out?
Hey, baby.
Let's go out for a date. Well, at the time, he was very rockabilly looking. Irish, red hair, done in a DA, rolled up jeans, wife beater, the whole nine. And I said, oh yeah, let's go see Stop Making Sense. And he was like, do what? Stop Making, huh? I said, Talking Heads, come on, man. And he was like, oh, okay. So we make the plan, and then I'm in my apartment with my friend Diane. We're on the 3rd floor, and it was like, honk, honk, honk. And I look out the window, and it's a Lincoln Continental with suicide doors, like a 1967 something. And I was like, what the hell? And this guy's leaning out. And we wound up coming here to Coney Island instead. Yeah.
Yeah, I just had this sudden, like, oh yeah, I've heard this story before. And suddenly I was like, oh yeah, I know.
Oh, you
I know where
ended
this
up going
goes.
to the movie.
We didn't go to the movie. Like, his best friend and his girlfriend, they were like, yeah, we're going to go to New York tonight because we want to go see a show. And I was like, okay. Just met the guy, came up here, we went to Coney Island, and then we wound up seeing David Johansen
Oh.
as Buster Poindexter
Oh, this is that show.
at Trance.
This is actually that story, yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
pretty wild. My roommate thought I was kidnapped and dead.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's it.
Well,
On behalf of Burger King, I am pleased to announce that we have just changed the Whopper.
You changed the Whopper? My Whopper?
I am sure we have your complete support.
After all I've done for you, this is how you repay me?
The new Whopper has more beef than ever. More beef than Big Mac or Wendy's Single, and it beat them both for best taste.
It's bigger, tastes better.
Why don't you try it?
The new Whopper. More beef than Big Mac or Wendy's Single, and winner for best taste.
Take it from an expert. It's terrific.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Reno from Loverboy. Tune in next week and you can find out how you can win this microphone from me on Friday Night Videos.
All right! Oh, yeah, we're back!
and, well, I guess it's my turn then.
It's your turn.
My turn then. And I should probably bring up my list
All
if
right,
I'm going to
then.
do that. If I'm
Do
going to
that.
do a list, I should bring up my list. All right.
Bloody well, right.
All right. So what do we have here? Audio is rolling. Okay. All right. So I have 2 honorable mentions.
Okay.
The Jacksons Live from 1981.
Oh, yeah.
It's it's not great, but there are a couple of tracks that are like, I think the live versions are better than the album, and it's really interesting that there are off the wall songs. I'm like, basically that's the off the wall tour.
Tour,
Just I
yeah.
think Joe wouldn't let MJ do a tour without his brothers.
Oh, yeah,
so that's
yeah.
how you get an off the wall tour is the Jacksons tour.
Exactly.
But one that is sure to be on Tommy's list, Bob Seger with 9 Tonight, also from 1981.
Yeah.
Although it's probably more likely to be on your list than the one we mentioned before.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying, you would sooner put this one on your list than that other one.
We'll see. We'll
Maybe
see
not.
what I have.
We'll find out. Okay, well, I have 10. I have 10 albums here. And coming to number 10, The Kinks, One for the Road from 1980. Yeah, and that in the early 80s when that was a current record, I loved that album. I played the fuck out of it. Some of the songs on that album, those are the first versions that I knew.
Oh,
So
really?
then when I started really digging deeper into the 60s stuff and the older stuff, it was like, whoa, this sounds different. Because they kind of changed the sound or the vibe and the style of the songs to match how they sounded at that time, which was that sort of like early 80s American kind of hard rock kind of sound.
That's why I didn't like it.
But the thing is, on this album, they do Wherever All the Good Times Gone, and they do it not far off from the way the Van Halen version is. The Van Halen version is way better, but they kind of do it almost Van Halen-ish. Anyway, so number 9, a band that was snubbed from the list on the 70s due to sonic shortcomings, but they're on this list. Rush with Exit Stage Left from 1981.
Concert halls.
Oh yeah. Now,
Now,
but the funny thing is with this album, even this album, it's great, but I feel I'm on the sort of the other end of the spectrum with this one. I listen to this one, I'm like, Jesus, this is just too perfect and antiseptic. It almost sounds like they recorded this shit in the studio and then added audience because it's so fucking like they're just that good.
And they probably didn't even make any overdubs to it.
They probably didn't.
They were just that goddamn
Yeah.
good.
It's crazy. I mean, I remember, back in the day, I would hear tracks from this on the radio, and I just thought it was the album. And then the audience would come in at the end, I'd be like,
Really?
Like, what?
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, they're cheating. They just put the audience over the fucking record. What are you talking about? No, they're just that good live.
Yeah.
Good.
But anyway, all right. So coming in number 8 is a record that I initially disqualified from the list because it's a vault release. But I decided that if I could mention Beatles at the Hollywood Bowl in the 70s video, then this could go in the 80s one. The Doors, Live at the Hollywood Bowl, which came out in 1987.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
fair.
Yeah.
I almost disqualified it, and I was going to mention,
It's when it came out, man.
Yeah.
So, all right. Yeah, I mean, and unfortunately, I guess they didn't really put out the whole show as an album. It was like an EP, wasn't it? It was pretty
Yeah,
short.
it was
Like they
very
had a
short.
VHS tape of the whole show,
Thing, yeah.
but the album release was like a cherry-picked,
Yes.
shorter version of it. And yeah, me and my friends, we were all, we were at that getting into the Doors age and just, well, I mean, I'd long since was into the Doors at this point, but I had a friend who just lived, breathed, ate, and shit the Doors, and so we just, we worshipped this video and this record,
No, but that's true though, because for a long time it seemed like there would be a timeline of adolescence into teenage years, and along that timeline was always, and now you're into the Doors, really into the Doors. Now you're not as into the Doors as much.
Well, there was a meme that's been going around lately that I just saw that is a dad, taking his son like he's going to give him the talk, and he says, son, you're 15 now, and it's time you began to get pretentious about Radiohead.
I've seen that.
And that actually works for the Doors as
yes,
well.
it does.
That very much works for the Doors.
Yes, it does.
What year? What year did this come out?
87.
87, yeah, the Hollywood Bowl. Yeah, I mean, the show was in 68,
okay.
but they released this in 87. And it was a big, like, they had, videos on MTV from it. There was
I
the
remember
VHS
that.
release was a big event, and the
Yeah.
whole thing, like, it was a thing.
When did that stupid movie come out? That was 90s.
91, I think.
The Oliver Stone one?
Yeah,
that
91,
was-
around 91,
Yeah.
I think it was,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, anyway, coming in at number 7, a record that I probably wouldn't have put on my list, except for Crystal has put albums like this on her list, and I went, you know what? This I'm going to do this because this was big, man. Man, this was huge. Number 7, Eddie Murphy, the first Eddie Murphy
Hey!
album. Yeah, see, initially I would never have put comedy albums. I don't think
Yeah.
there's anything wrong with putting comedy albums on the list. I just wouldn't have done it. But when it came to this, I was like, oh man, I gotta put the Eddie Murphy album on here.
Yeah, it is
1982.
good. I forgot about
My
that.
friend
yeah.
Brent and I, we met in '83 when we were in 8th grade. And this album was pretty new at the time. This came out in '82, and he had the cassette of this. And we listened to this thing, we played this thing into the ground and quoted it. Well, like, we still fucking quote this record. Like, so some of my earliest memories of my lifelong best friend is just, like,
It's
listening to and laughing at this
Yeah.
album,
It's good.
Someone stole your battery. So coming...
Oh shit! Listen to this album. Oh my god, that was great.
You're too lazy to take a shower, but you wash your dick in the sink. Sorry. Okay, no more in jokes for those who haven't heard the record. But okay, so coming in number 6, I have something that I was not prepared for, but it is known as
A tie.
Oh!
Hey!
Yeah.
Excellent.
Now this tie will make complete sense when I mention it. It's 2 EPs. Iron Maiden Live Plus One from 1980 and Iron Maiden Made in Japan 1981. Fucking great. Both of them. I don't know why they put out 2 live EPs. These two together would make... Like, I don't think there are any of the same songs between the two of them. This should just be one album. This would be just such a great live album. And yeah, I hadn't listened to these in a while, and I went back and listened to them, and I was like, fuck. Like, they're every bit as good as I remember them being, kind of even better. Like, these are really great. Unfortunately, I don't have either of them anymore. I used to have both of them. But, after I got out of my metal phase and I started weeding out so many records that oh my god.
Oh, you must have had so much great stuff.
We're talking OG pressings of Kill 'Em All, Ride the all that shit.
and you got rid of that stuff?
that I don't have now.
Did you sell them or something?
Yeah, in 1991.
Oh, you are the absolute worst.
Yeah,
oh my god.
You believe me.
Be sitting on a
I
gold
know.
mine. Wow.
I'm
Yeah.
sure you're kicking yourself in the ass. Even
Oh
harder.
yes. Oh yes. So I will be replacing these anytime soon. but they're great records. All right, so coming to number 5. Billy Joel with Songs in the Attic from 1981. Yeah. And this is a really cool live album because it is songs that from previous albums, but it isn't like a normal live set. It's not Here Are the Hits. He's just taking his early songs and kind of doing them, kind of going, well, this is the way they should be done. This is me doing them the way I will do them at my zenith.
Yeah.
Basically. And I mean, the definitive version of what's the opening song on the first album?
She's Got Away. That's the song you're thinking of, Paul. I just remembered.
Oh,
thanks, Crystal.
Fuck, that is so Crystal to be like, I'm taking this. I'm the one who knew. She didn't know.
I didn't
Wait, every
know.
time you slap your hands, though, that's an edit. Oh, fuck, I just did it.
Well, you know what?
Oh, well.
The edit gods get to decide whether these are edits or not.
AKA
edit
Paul.
gods, yeah. Singular.
But yeah, we just had to look it up because all of us are going, oh, whoa. Tommy looked up on, She's Got Away.
There's just too much crap to remember, honestly.
Well, yeah, She's Got Away. She's Got Away is the definitive. That's the definitive version on this album.
I'll give you that, yeah.
And it was all over the radio at the time. And let us move on, please, to number 4. Scorpions! Scorpions! Scorpions with Worldwide Life.
What?
Worldwide Life.
Oh, we're all...
It's
Don't you speak Kasmina?
Worldwide Live.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Crystal is a Scorpions fan!
Yeah.
Thank you!
Eins, zwei, drei.
Yeah. I never owned this record, but going back to it and listening to it was just like, it's so damn good. Like, they sound great. I'm sure there's some hocus pocus, but it doesn't sound like it. And honestly, I mean, to be fair though, I also saw them on that tour, and that's how they sounded. I seriously like that.
Saw
You know this
them
album,
on that
right?
tour?
Yes, they
Oh, yeah,
came
I
out
have
and
this on
fucking. They
vinyl.
came out and did Coming Home. I fucking saw that show.
fucking
Not the show on the record,
saw
but
it.
that tour.
Oh,
And they sounded that good.
Oh.
They sounded that good
Where at?
at the Day in the Green.
Oh, wow.
The same show, the Metallica, the show that when Metallica did the Day on the Green with Cliff.
Scorpions played?
Scorpions were the headliners that night.
Oh my god.
On this tour. Yeah. And it was... They sounded fucking amazing. And this record, just going back to it, was like, oh shit, yeah. That's what that sounded like. And it's just... They're really just damn good live. I haven't seen them since then, so I don't know how good they sound now. But Klaus's voice is just fucking incredible, to the point where, like, you hear how it sounds on that new album.
I don't know. I don't understand how he's doing that. So when you consider, it was shortly before this when they were doing the Blackout record. He had all kinds of vocal trouble to the point where he almost couldn't. Yeah, and they had Don Dokken in the studio with him cutting the demos for the Blackout record because Klaus's voice was so shot.
Really?
That material's never been released. Don has it all on a tape, but he won't put it out out of respect for Klaus.
Yeah, he knows it's not his place to put that out.
But it was like this close to Klaus being done, and now he's been back at it ever since. Super strong vocally for decades. I don't know how.
Yeah, that guy's probably pushing 80 now, and he fucking sounds amazing.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Anyway, so number 3. Joe Jackson. Live 1980/86, which kind of 80 through 86, which came out in 1988. And it's kind of a cool approach to live albums. What he did, it's almost like a live anthology, because what he did is it's a double album. And he does chunks of songs from every tour, chronologically. It starts out his first big tour in 1980, maybe about 4 songs from the next tour, and all the way through. So you get a little bit of every tour up to that point.
Oh, how things are changing.
He does repeat certain songs because Is She Really Going Out With Him, I believe, it comes up 3 times on this album. But because he did it 3 radically different ways, it's like an entirely different song every time.
Huh.
Like, you know... But it's again an album I hadn't listened to in decades, and I went back to it and I was like, fuck, God, this sounds better than I remember it. It's so damn good. And there's no way there's overdubs on this. You could just tell this is just Joe, like, just blowing the doors off, like, effortlessly, you know. But so coming in number 2, I didn't feel like a tie was appropriate in this situation. Joe Jackson with an album called Big World from 1986. And the reason why I didn't do these as a tie is because Live 80 to 86 is a live album of concerts, from concert tours, of him doing his hits, of him doing, you know. This is a new album of new material that he just did in front of an audience because that is the sound and the vibe he wanted. And, you know, the audience is instructed, do not applaud until everything is completely silent because there's no audience applause on the record. But the performances are live in front of an audience. And one of my favorite Joe albums, so... So I think I probably may have had this on my albums of the year, but it also works here because it is a live record. But coming in number 1, there's got to be some people who had to have seen this coming from a million miles away. In fact, it's the Glasses Off.
Uh-oh.
Motorhead with No Sleep Till Hammersmith. Yeah, 1981.
Oh, yeah, Motorhead.
Motorhead. Yeah, boy. Now, this one, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think there's some hocus pocus on this one?
I don't think there's any hocus pocus on it.
The reason why I wonder is because this is one of those albums, and I always look for this on records. I feel like the sound of his voice when he's speaking between songs is different from the sound... Like the whole recording quality and the tonal quality and everything about it sounds different from his banter to his vocal on the songs.
Well,
not everybody can be Paul Stanley.
I've never been...
but it sounds like a different recording.
Well, I've never been present while a live album is being mixed. I don't know if somebody is making a decision like all the magic sauce that they're putting on the lead vocal, if they want to leave that on between songs for the audience banter. I don't know. Would that sound odd if you did that?
I don't know.
Perhaps it would. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
But maybe there could be some hocus pocus. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would like to think that Lemmy wouldn't go for that he would be dead set against that. But, you know, I don't know.
Well, okay, so here's another thing that to think about when it comes to hocus pocus on live albums. We've talked about this, obviously, as we've been doing this live album series, but, you know, live albums, or how live are they even really? Like, Judas Priest Unleashed in the East is Judas Priest Unleashed in the Studio is the joke.
Yeah.
Now, you do have, there's lots of examples of bands that they go and they cut a live record and they want to go back in and fix everything, fix sloppy performances. You know, we fixed everything but the fucking drums, and even those are spliced up and put in time.
Well, sometimes it's them overthinking themselves.
Overthinking
themselves. Didn't even need to be fixed.
But you do also have cases where you capture an amazing live show. Everything went off great, but because of some kind of technological hiccup, something sounds like crap, not because of the performance, but because it was mic'd wrong, or something just sounds weird or echoey. Are you going to let that tank the whole record, or are you going to go back in and fix it?
Right.
And actually, as a perfect example of that, I don't know if you guys saw, my band went in and did a live performance in a studio the other day.
Yeah.
And everything you're hearing in that is 100% live from start to finish, except the gang vocals. And the reason why is because we forgot to mic up me and Danny to do the gang vocals, and then we were already fucking rolling, and we captured an amazing take, and we're like, that was really good, we played great and had the right vibe, let's just go back in and overdub. Because you could see us shouting the backing vocals, but there's no mics in front of us. So we just went back afterwards and we just each stood in front of a mic and did the gang vocal and just slapped that on top.
And that's
it's
fair.
Cheating.
That's fair.
But it's not cheating like we played like shit. We need to repair that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's not really cheating because it's fair. I mean, you get the good sound that you want, but there's just this minor thing that's just like
just fix it. So I don't know. Maybe on this record, maybe Lemmy's vocal mic was just farting out or clipping or who the fuck knows
who knows
what.
But I don't know, but and it might be legit. I don't know. Maybe some of you Motorhead geeks can let us know.
Chime in. Let us know. What do you think?
All right. Well, anyway, that is my list. All right. Here we go.
Hershey, Hershey, Hershey. It's a fun one. Hershey, Hershey, Hershey. Ooh, chocolate fun. Pure milk chocolate. Delicious and smooth. Oh, if you don't believe me, I'll prove it to you. When you take a bite, oh, you'll say I'm right. Hershey, Hershey, Hershey. It's a fun one. Oh, Hershey, Hershey, Hershey. Ooh, chocolate fun.
This is Larry Lujek. Animal Stories is more than just a feature on my morning WLS radio program. It's a serious responsibility, one that requires research, determination, and courage. My beat is the animal kingdom, my job to give you its news firsthand. I wouldn't have it any other way. Right, little Tommy?
Right, Uncle Lair.
Good morning, chillins. It's time for Animal Stories.
Mornings with Larry Lujak on WLS.
I am Mike Tyson, a professional fighter. You can keep drugs out of your life and knock them out of society by saying no. Say no to drugs.
All right, we're back.
We're back.
And Tommy.
Well, to me.
It's your turn, Tommy. Tommy time.
Okay.
Time for Tommy's turn.
Well, I've got some mentions. And then I've got some honorable mentions, and then I've got a top 10.
Oh my god!
I came correct.
Dude, it's like you meant to do this shit.
I did. So I'm going to start with the mentions, and the mentions are not actually ranked. These mentions are not in any specific order. I just feel like they should be mentioned, but there's a reason for each of them not being in my top 10 or my honorable mentions list. So the first of the mentions is Boingo Alive by Oingo Boingo from 1988. I feel as though it's completely pointless because it's live in a rehearsal facility. The band sounds so good it comes off as alternate versions of the studio tracks, but just not quite as good in my opinion.
Not in front of an audience. They were just in a rehearsal.
Which is kind of like Rush,
except Rush actually did that on a goddamn stage.
Yeah.
The next one I have would be a tie, actually. Classics Live 1 and 2 by Aerosmith. Came out in 1986 and 1987, respectively. I dug these when I was a kid, mostly for the inclusion of the song Major Barbara, which is a studio track, which I really, really love a lot.
That's a good song.
Yeah. The band sounds fine, but it's them touring in support of Done with Mirrors. Just before they put out Permanent Vacation and Pump, those tours would have offered up something new rather than the 70s classics that are mostly already found on live bootleg. So this, again, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's like, does anyone need it?
Yeah.
And then the next mention I have would be Dio with Intermission from 1986.
Oh, I remember this one.
I feel like this is mostly unnecessary and rather short on songs. The brand new studio track they also included isn't bad, but it's like this is this was the half of the tour, the first half of the tour, right before Vivian was out, and they replaced him with, I think, Craig Goldie, and Viv was just the heart and the passion isn't there anymore because he knew he was getting fucked financially, and he wasn't happy.
Right. Yeah, the whole Dio thing was really just like the classic Dio era was very short-lived.
It really was. It was basically 3 albums, and that third album is only like 50% awesome.
Yeah, it's not even that good. Yeah. I mean, really, for me, it's just about the first 2 albums. I mean,
the first 2 Dio albums, I will hear no arguments.
Yeah.
The third one, I feel like there's some strong shit on there, and there's also some stuff on there that it's like, you guys are just not into this anymore. Something's wrong.
Yeah.
And then we quickly found out what was wrong. The next mention I have is Live 75 to 85, Bruce Springsteen. And the comment I wrote was, meh, I prefer the studio versions. There's nothing inherently wrong with this, but it's just like, meh.
It's also a lot.
It's so long.
It's a lot. I've never listened to that whole thing.
It's too much to get through. It's a slog. Then we move on to my final 2 mentions, the first of which is Ozzy Osbourne with Speak of the Devil from 1982. It's not that it's bad, it's just completely unnecessary. Nobody wanted to do this, especially his band. It was all just a bunch of petty shit and greed that led to this. Like, they really did not want to. Like, Randy was threatening to quit over this freaking album.
Really?
Yeah. And then he was like, fine, I'll do this, and then I'm leaving the band. And then he died, and they got Brad Gillis to do it. And,
right.
And then from 1987, Ozzy Osbourne with Tribute. And I wrote, I don't know why, but it's hard for me not to see this as some sort of cash-in. Maybe it's because it's all from 1981, and it came out in 1987 after he had already done 2 records and multiple tours with J.K. Lee. Maybe that's the reason why I feel this way.
It screams of Sharon going, oh, we could make some money off of this, can't we?
People talk about Randy. Let's make money off of this.
Let's pretend we give a shit about him.
Honestly.
Let's pretend that our heart bleeds for him, shall we?
It's truly difficult for me to see this as any kind of genuine release.
Oh, yeah. Well, but you know what, though? I do want to mention, actually, while on the subject of this album, I don't know if you've seen this. I have it on my phone. On my phone, which we're shooting on right now. Yeah. You have it in your brain right there.
Yes, check it.
Somebody has footage of the moment that was shot. I have it on my fucking phone. Somebody shot from the audience, from just above, the fucking moment.
What, like video?
A video of the moment
of him lifting him up and
the
somebody
cover
taking
photo
that.
of him lifting up Randy.
No,
oh, shit!
There's actual video of that some audience member shot.
Oh wow!
Like it's from an audience point
perspective.
Of view. It's fucking crazy.
That's cool.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, all right. So moving on to my actual honorable mentions, I just have a few. Alcatraz with Live Sentence from 1984. Whitesnake from Live in the Heart of the City from 1980. U2 with Under a Blood Red Sky from 1983. I'm sorry, that's actually a cool record.
Great.
Live Without a Net, Angel, 1980.
Angel. When did Annette quit?
No. That's the wrong Annette.
Oh, okay.
But Frankie Avalon was there, don't worry.
Sorry.
This is Angel with Frankie Avalon. And then we have, believe it or not, from 1988, Live Plus One by Fraley's Comet. I shit on Ace relentlessly, and I feel I am justified in doing so, especially with everything he's done in the last couple of decades of his existence. But you listen to Live Plus One. This Fraley's Comet, it's an EP. It's really short.
I used to have it.
But it's on fire. They're smoking on this, man.
Yeah, I don't remember it being bad. Actually, I think I still have it.
He's killing it. Now, I don't know if it's completely fake. I don't know if he's got somebody else coming in after they did the session and redoing all the solos.
Yeah, did he get Vinnie Vincent to come in and play?
I mean, honestly, probably. And then they sued each other. Hey! But as far as a product goes, I mean, it kicks ass. So
I remember there was 1 or 2 studio tracks at the end, and I remember Words Are Not Enough was one of them, and I remember really liking it at the time, even though it's all synths.
Revisit it. The Ace classics on here, like he's really, I mean, it's really passionate.
Yeah, doesn't he do Rip It Out on there?
Yeah, Rip It Out's on there. Yeah, I think Rocket Ride's on here.
Yeah.
Even though it's all synths.
I'm ignoring the comment about the synths, goddammit.
Well, I mean, but also it's like it's an Ace record, and you're like, wait, this is all synths and no guitars. This is a fucking Ace Frehley record.
Yeah, but you know he's not going to fuck up the guitar parts then.
Oh my god.
That's true, and he's also not going to fuck up the keyboard player parts because he's obviously not playing those either.
Exactly. Except at that point, at least least you know he's not playing the synths.
That's true.
And I don't
That's
have to
true.
hear the comic book guy arguing about whether or not Ace tracked his own guitar solos.
Comic book guy.
But now let's move on to my actual top 10 for 1980s live albums. My number 10 from 1984, Styx with Caught in the Act.
Oh shit!
I know, and this is that tour. You know what tour this is.
Oh, I know exactly what tour it is.
But they're killing it. So as much shit as those guys like to talk about, we were miserable on that tour. Dennis forced us into doing it. Nobody liked it. Not what I'm hearing there.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you know, it's one of those things. It's kind of like when they talk about the Beatles Get Back and what a I'm sure there were times when it felt that way, but it isn't just that. There are good times. There are good shows.
Exactly. There's some revisionist history bullshit going on with those Styx guys. They've just more and more as the years have gone by, they've made Dennis DeYoung out to be Satan himself. It's like, guys, come on.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
My number 9 from 1983, Thin Lizzy with Life.
Yeah, you know, that's
it's
not a bad one.
I wasn't expecting it to actually rank as high as it did, but that's where it landed on my list. My number 8 from 1981, we've got Iron Maiden with Made in Japan. And I will have to admit, I missed that other EP.
I mean, it's really just more of the same. Like it really, the two of them should just be an album. It's
had I been aware of the other one, I mean, I've known about this one for a while. Had I been aware of the other one, it probably would have ended up being a tie.
Live Plus One was strictly import. Made in Japan, we had that here. Live Plus One, you had to get an import to get that.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. In my 1982, we have Black Sabbath with Live Evil. Yes, we get a Dio era Sabbath live album.
Right, just as he was out the door.
Oh yeah, I mean that's
why he was.
This
out
was
the door.
the album. Yeah. I mean,
well, I know the story.
They both know the story, but if you don't know the story, I mean, they were basically at each other's throats over the mixing process of this record because, according to Dio, Iommi and Geezer were just gacked out of their fucking skulls and just non-communicative and not participatory. So Dio and Vinny, the drummer, were going into the studio. Well, let's just hear things. Let's just listen to the playbacks. Let's hear what's going on. And during the playbacks, Dio, not mixing, but he would just tell the engineer, turn my vocal up so I can hear me better. Blah, 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 blah. And then after a couple of days of this, Tony apparently went into the studio and says, what's Dio been up to? And the engineer said some shit like, oh yeah, Dio's been in here listening, keeps having me raise his vocal higher and higher. So then Tony Iommi took that as, I've got a power struggle on my hands, bury his vocal in the mix hadn't even fucking started yet.
Yeah.
So anyway, cocaine, ego. It ends with Dio and Vinny leaving, and
Well, there's a lot of ego bullshit with Tony Iommi. The whole reason why Ozzy had to stand to the side on the stage is because Tony Iommi and that whole thing. Because for some reason whoever did the Volume 4 cover put only Ozzy on the cover. Iommi did not like that.
Good.
And he's gacked out of his brain probably at that time too, and he thinks that Ozzy is conspiring to take over the band and be the star. And,
Oh, Tony!
It's
crazy.
like, come on.
I know.
So you look at all this footage. Tony's middle, center stage, and Ozzy's like over to the side.
Yeah,
it's like,
weird.
Oh, come on, people.
It's weird seeing that shit.
This does not work.
Yeah,
I don't care what your ego is telling you. This doesn't work.
It's stupid. It is absolutely stupid. Yeah, I really hope that he is mellowed and in his age and like realizes that he was kind of an idiot and.
I mean,
I don't know.
You get too much fame and money too young, and all your
messes with your head.
Kind of tendencies they'll
come out. Yep. But moving on from there, I have my number 6. I have Iron Maiden Back Again, 1985's Live After Death. Love that one. That was my introduction to Iron Maiden, actually, was that album.
Yeah? Yes. It's funny, that was where I went out.
Yeah, well, you're no fun. I can't with
I bought that record, but I listened to it once.
No, Paul, no. With number 5, 1983's Live from Earth by Pat Benatar.
Oh, wow. I forgot about that.
Oh, you need to check this one out. This is not what you'd expect from a Pat Benatar live album, because in 1983, she's king shit of the hill at this point in her career. She's peaked, like one big hit album after another.
Yeah. Oh, no,
okay? She's at the top of her freaking career.
She was actually bigger than anybody, even us, those of us who were there, even realized.
She was
huge.
so big. And you would expect from an artist of that stature at that point in time that you're going to get a really sanitized, safe, perfect sounding live album. this is almost chaos.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't think any of this was retouched. I mean, I think this sounds raw and chaotic in an awesome way. Like it's fucking real. And you listen to this and you're like, oh shit, her live shows were legit AF back then.
Oh, I'll actually go back and listen to that.
Oh, yeah.
I always stayed away from it because the cover looked like a lipstick ad.
Oh, no. I mean, they're playing songs too fast. Everything rocks harder than it did on the album. You should check this one out, man. It's cool.
Okay. She's really good.
Yeah, there's almost like a bit of like a chaotic punk kind of energy going on here.
Well, I do remember there was a video from that they used to play on MTV. I forget which song.
Oh,
but
yeah.
You remember?
That's right. Yeah. I can't remember what the song was. But
and that was perfectly good.
Yeah. And then my number 4 from 1981, we've got Rush with Exit ... Stage Left. Because of course we do.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming on your list at all, no.
I love this period of time in Rush. This is my favorite Rush era.
Early 80s.
Yeah, because I don't know if you guys are hip to this. They, of course, know this. But Rush had this thing, it seemed like, was happening. Like, they would put out 4 albums and then a live album. 4 albums, a live album, 4 albums. And they just kept... I don't know if it, like, happened by accident and they just kind of kept doing it. But, like, you can kind of, like, sum up a Rush era by, like, the live album that comes out after those 4 albums.
Yeah.
So
it's the marker.
Yeah, so this is my favorite Rush era, is those 4 albums and this live album.
Yeah. It's like Kiss was poised to do that, but then things got messy with the solo albums and then the platinum and
yeah,
because after Alive 2, what would be the 3 albums that you would do for the
Dynasty,
next album?
Unmasked,
and The Elder.
And Elder.
Yeah, how do you do a live album that represents those 3 fucking albums?
You're not really doing that.
Yeah.
All right, so then my number 3 from 1985, Triumph with Stages. Oh my god! And it's loaded up with like almost every single one of the most fucking awesome Triumph songs, man. It's like even at that point in time, those guys knew these are our best songs. This is what we're putting on this album. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it kicks
Triumph's
ass.
self-awareness was...
Yeah, and if you aren't hip to Triumph...
Like Crystal.
Oh, no, you were supposed to say Get On It.
Oh, Get On It.
I was setting you up to knock it down.
Sorry.
I know you're already hip to Triumph.
We can do it again.
Okay, and if you're not hip to Triumph...
Get on it.
Thank you, Crystal Durant.
Get on it.
Get down on it.
Come on now, get right on it.
All right, so my number 2 from 1981, Billy Joel, Songs in the Attic, of course.
Another one I didn't think you'd have on your list at all.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
Oh, you jest, sir. You
I
jest.
do. Oh, I do. I jest. I do.
But my number 1, also from 1981, Journey with Captured.
Oh, shit.
It's fantastic.
It's great.
It really is. It really is. And this is right before we get Jonathan Cain.
You don't like Jonathan Cain?
I love Jonathan Cain for those first few albums.
Oh.
And then...
I do not like Jonathan Cain as a human being.
Well,
who
does?
Okay, yes.
But when he joined the band, he gave him a shot in the ass and brought some killer songwriting and ushered in their 80s era. And I love Journey's early 80s era. But he just apparently has been an abominable person since day
Forever.
one.
Yeah.
There is a story, an interview I read with Herbie Herbert, their manager. And he was talking about getting those guys to the point of success and working with them, and how he was talking about how he had them set up financially. He had put all their earnings into like real estate all around San Francisco that was going to be worth like hundreds of millions of dollars. And they were all like, well, we sell all that. We want all that money now. And he talks about, basically, it makes them out to be kind of, rocker idiots, which I'm sure to a degree they kind of were. But he talks about when they got Jonathan Cain, and Jonathan Cain was fresh out of the babies, and he agrees to come in and do it, and he flies in, and Herbie Herbert picks him up. And the very first thing Jonathan Cain does is throw him a demo tape of his girlfriend and say, get her a record deal, or you have no deal with me, or some shit like that. Oh, fuck. And Herbie's like, and I knew exactly what the fuck kind of person Jonathan Cain was from that moment.
Well, also, a lot like he was the god of keyboard at that time. Like they couldn't have just gotten somebody else.
Right?
Yeah. They were fucking Journey. At that point, he was merely Jonathan Cain,
yes,
who was not yet in Journey.
Yeah, and he was in the Babies for like 2 records, and people kind of knew who they were, but like kind of a lot of people didn't. But
a lot of people
everyone
still
knew who
don't
Journey
know who
was.
the Babies are.
Well, and even if they do, the only person they knew was John Waite.
I think he must have had like a 6-month window of time where he might have thought he had enough juice, or maybe he actually did have enough juice to pull some bullshit like that. and he managed to do it.
Ego.
But it was a dick move, and he's apparently just always
He's apparently
been a prick.
just a dick.
Yeah. But anyway, that's my top 10.
All right. All right. Well, there you go. Okay. Man, this is going to be a pretty good length episode.
This episode's going to be solid!
Solid! It's going to be
As a rock.
almost as long as the 80s felt.
Ooh, that's
As a what?
Almost as long as the 80s felt.
What?
Nothing. You'll find out. All right. Commercial time.
It's the grand opening of a brand new Crazy Eddie Superstore. Route 347 in Smithtown, Long Island this Saturday. Free Crazy Eddie hats, t-shirts, bandanas, digital watches. Be there.
Tuesday, guess who's coming to the A-Team?
Boy George and the Culture Club.
And the action is
Too marvelous for words.
so get in on the act, because things are going to be rocking and stomping.
What next?
When Boy George meets the A-Team, Tuesday.
I'm rolling.
I'm Captain Lou Albano talking to you about drugs. Kids, don't be afraid to say no. Anyone that asks you to use drugs is not your friend. Drugs can and will kill. Remember, don't be afraid to turn to your priest, your rabbi, your minister, your moms, your dads, your teachers, because drugs can kill. And if you do drugs, you go to hell before you die. Please.
All right.
Oh, hi.
Well, you know what is bad?
We're back.
And is nothing.
What?
Oh, the records we're about to talk about. We're going to be talking about
these records ain't shit.
They ain't shit.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Right, I forgot. Yeah.
All right,
so I'm going first, right?
You was going first.
Okay.
Do it.
I only have two
Okay.
bad live albums from the whole decade of the 1980s.
Tell us about it, Crystal.
I'll tell you about it.
Do tell.
And these are tied for equal terrible.
Equal worstness.
Yeah. There's Live Dates 2 by Wishbone Ash.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Talk about
First
an
of
album
all-
I have not heard.
First of all, Wishbone Ash putting out anything in the 80s?
Yes.
What the hell?
Sounds like it was the right time for that.
Yeah.
It's like Hawkwind putting out something in the 80s.
Yeah, when I saw it on... Yeah. And then the other one is The Concert by Creedence Clearwater Revival. And we
'Cause
all
you
know why
love
Crystal
you some
picked them
Creedence.
because I hate it.
Well,
I
not
hate
only that,
Creedence.
but there is no way on earth that a live album by Creedence Clearwater Revival from the 80s was done without John Fogerty's permission and was totally fueled by greed.
Yeah,
on the
no, not
record
at all.
company. There's no way that's the
No,
case.
Yes, and there's-
yeah. I
No
mean,
chance.
come on.
No
Yeah,
chance at all.
not a chance.
Terrible.
Well, all right. Well, guess we'll go into my list now. I don't
Wishbone
remember how many I
Ash.
have.
I always thought Wishbone Ash was a terrible band name as well.
And aren't they the ones with the album cover of like Darth Vader with has Darth Vader with his back to the camera?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a Wishbone Ash album cover and it has this Darth. It isn't actually Darth Vader because it's pre Darth Vader. It's like it's early 70s.
Yeah.
And it's this person.
Weird character.
It's like a character that looks like Darth Vader, but with its back to the camera, cape, that shape of a helmet. It's really weird. You have to look it up.
Fucking hippies.
That's strange because George Lucas never stole ideas from anything else.
Yeah, you know, I mean, he
Hey!
never got any of his ideas from other existing things.
So that's just one of those.
So he couldn't possibly. He probably didn't see
amazing
that.
Probably not. Probably not. Yeah.
Come
Not at all.
on now.
Okay, well, I have myself a 7-album list here on the worst of.
Uh-oh.
Wow. Okay. He's going in.
Well, I thought, I definitely have to get my Pink Lady mention in here with Sayonara Pink Lady.
Oh my God.
Sorry, guys. Their 7th and last live album.
Yep.
Wow.
7th.
That's insane.
Yes.
We're talking in like 4 years. Yeah. Okay. U2 with Rattle and Hum, because go fuck yourselves, U2 with that shit. Now, I don't know if this really should have been on worst of. I put Live After Death on the list, but I don't, I don't think it's a bad record. I put that on this list because I never really liked it. But it's not like it's bad. So
just
I don't
don't
know,
like
whatever. And this one's also a meh. I don't know if it's legitimately bad, but this is a meh. Who's Last from 1984.
I didn't mention it for a
Yeah,
reason.
You just
like I
kind of want to
said,
move on from
Yeah.
this falls under the category of meh.
I don't even. Yeah.
Yeah. But this one's genuinely terrible. The Rolling Stones was Still Life from 1982.
Oh, God.
Tattoo You Tour, just fucking terrible.
Horrible.
They're just doing, it's like how you were describing the later Ramones live stuff.
Oh.
They're just, Mick sounds out of breath, they're speeding through, shadow,
You know why? It's so,
No.
because I saw 2 shows on that tour, and it wasn't like that at all.
So why the hell did
Like
they choose those
they were really
recordings?
good. But I was Philly and here, and they were great.
Well,
yeah.
Also,
Those
be
shows were
careful,
not on this
Paul,
album.
because I got called out for calling out those later Ramones live albums. So
yeah, I saw that.
someone
Yeah, I
might
saw
come for
that.
you, because as you know, I know nothing about the Ramones
at
or
all.
punk rock or anything.
0.
So
Right.
Yeah.
Well, when your opinion differs from, a stranger online's
John
opinion,
Q.
then
Public.
you automatically become someone who doesn't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I know this is true.
That's
is
the
true.
way it works.
Yeah.
Tommy, didn't you know this?
I know.
All right. Well, I couldn't decide which to put at my absolute worst, but my next 2, we'll just go this order. Wasp with Live in the Raw from 1987.
Fuck this band.
Yeah,
so hard.
just and it isn't like, Blackie Lawless has turned out to be a really wretched human being, but it isn't
Turned
all that.
out.
Like, if you'd asked me 20 years ago, I would have
Turned
told you
out
that
to be.
Wasp was fucking awful.
Well, first of all, Blackie has apparently always been a piece of shit.
From day
He's
one.
Just,
Well, he always has,
He's just
but-
overtly a piece
Well,
of shit
he always
now.
has been, but I mean, come on, with the
But-
stuff that's going on nowadays,
I know.
like, we didn't even know that.
And I know what you're referring
Oh,
to.
yeah.
But like, I would over the years, I would have friends be like, "You gotta get into. You like '80s metal? How do you not like Wasp?" And I'd be like, "Okay, I'll revisit the catalog yet again." Sorry, guys, there's nothing here. There's
The songs are
nothing here.
lame. Come on, Jack Action. Oh, go fuck yourself
Give
with
me a
that
break.
shit. Jack Action.
I like exactly 2 Wasp songs.
What are those?
"Fuck Like a Beast" and "I Want to Be Somebody."
Tommy.
Yeah, see, I don't even like I Want to Be Somebody.
I enjoy both of those songs, and that is it.
I mean,
And-
it's not a terrible song, but I just don't think it's that good.
But the thing is like, for me, I look at those 2 songs, and the difference between those single 2 songs versus literally everything else in their catalog is like an ocean between to my ears.
And in the end, I also have to admit that my opinion of their music is somewhat skewed because of I just can't stand his voice. Like, maybe those songs I would like much better if somebody who could sing, who didn't have a grating voice, was singing them. Maybe, I can't say, but I've never thought Wasp was worth a shit. But anyway, so the worst of worst of the decade, from 1989. Dylan and the Dead.
Oh, Jesus.
Dylan and the Dead. Have you listened to this?
No.
Two songs. That's all I could take.
Oh, man.
Full disclosure, I did not listen to
So
a
it's
note of it.
Dylan at his lowest point of being able to even
Look at
sing
Crystal.
and perform.
Crystal's just...
I'm just like, when you hear it, you're just wondering, like, was he dead and they resurrected him or something? It was so
Dylan was a
bad.
terrible drunk at this point.
Wait until you see the body language from her.
I'll
when
be
you-
seeing that.
I can't.
But Dylan was a terrible drunk at this point, was barely able to even do it.
Yeah.
And his backing band is the Grateful Dead.
Grateful Dead.
So it's the Grateful Dead
Cool.
versions of Dylan songs with him barely able to sing the damn things.
2 shitty tastes that taste like shit together.
So,
Ugh.
I mean, yeah, there you go. So yeah, that's my worst.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Grateful Dead, did you hear that there is a new 4-album box set,
You know what?
live album coming out
Fuck
of them?
that.
They haven't announced.
it must be
They haven't
another
announced which song it is, but
Yeah, they have at least one of those
Which
every
song
record
it
store
is?
day.
You know, they are like Marilyn Monroe. You know what I mean? Like every year, oh, new pictures of Marilyn Monroe. No, we've seen every photograph of Marilyn Monroe. We don't need that anymore. We don't need any more Grateful Dead.
No.
Where was this? Where were these tapes? In somebody's
they've
basement
got
or some
tapes
shit?
of literally every show from every tour.
God. But don't these hippies already know that shit because they bootlegged it 800
No,
times?
man, because they go off in like a different exploration. Blah, 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 blah.
Oxymoxin.
Yeah.
That's actually officially the
Penicillin.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Penicillin.
Yeah.
My least favorite Grateful Dead album.
It's the lowest.
Yeah. So, do you have anything on here that you like as little as the Grateful Dead?
Oh boy, do I! I've got 8 on my list of worst albums.
Damn, you guys cared way more than I did.
Well, it's about the 80s.
I'm sorry, right.
Yeah, you gotta hate more when it's the 80s.
This is true.
Shut up, Bertolino. Anyway, my number 8, of course, it's Sayonara Pink Lady from 1981.
Yeah, come on.
And then I wrote, well, that took long enough.
7 years.
This one I didn't even bother listening to, but I looked at the track listing, and it's just absurd. It's just... I think at this point in their career, they're up there singing,
It's all
row, row,
covers.
row your boat, and...
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
Twinkle, Twinkle,
May
Little
as well have
Star.
been
Like, it's
same
just
song.
ridiculous.
Wow.
My number 7 from 1981, we've got Ted Nugent with Intensities in 10 Cities. No.
Which is actually the same thing as that Joe Jackson album. It's an actual album of new songs.
Mm-hmm.
I will
care.
give him that is a great album title.
Oh, it's a fantastic album
That
title.
is a badass album title.
Yes, don't like him. All right, my number 6, I have Racer X with Extreme Volume Live from 1988. And here's what I have to say about this. There are 12 songs on here, but 4 of them are solo showcases for each member of the band. And the other 8 songs sound like maybe 6 songs stretched to 8 songs. And I'd be fine with all of that if I liked the songs. I could put up with so much, but you have to have good songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. My number 5... from 1988, Bad Brains, live. Just a bunch of noise. Don't like the Bad Brains. Moving on.
Yeah, we
You're
know.
like, I got your noise right here.
Yeah.
I honestly have no dog in the Bad Brains race at all.
All right, my number 4. From 1985, we have Thor, live in Detroit, 1985.
Oh, shit.
Yes. Now, on paper, this band is amazing. But his vocals are just kind of alright, and the songs are Manowar level stupid. I cannot get into Thor. I just can't. It's just not good.
I didn't even try.
Yeah, it's just like, I want that to work so bad, and it just doesn't work, man.
Who's in this band?
The singer is John Michael Thor, who was a Canadian bodybuilder.
Oh, that's his real name?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm having deja vu.
In the 70s, he started doing music, and he did like glam rock shows where he would like do feats of strength where he blows up a hot water balloon till it bursts and bends the steel bars in his mouth.
He looks like Fabio.
Yeah,
I remember
this now.
And this kind of transformed in the early 80s into like, basically barbarian metal, which like, if you do it right and you got good songs, I will cover my room with posters of your band. If you're gonna do a barbarian metal band from the 80s and you've got good songs, you are my new favorite band. But you have to have good songs. You have to have good fucking songs. I don't care what style of music you're doing. If the songs are not there, all the superficial crap doesn't mean a goddamn thing.
That's audacity. I'm a hot bodybuilder. Chicks are gonna da-da-da-da.
Well,
or
it's
whatever.
been seen, we've
So
seen it
stupid.
1,000 times before where, all you have to do is present this thing that has this surface, thing that will sell, and it'll work. Only for a certain amount of time.
I mean, you see this every time there's a new sudden wave of like a new genre becomes the genre du jour. We saw that with hair metal, and then by like 1989, 90, 91, they're signing literally anyone that's got a penis and lipstick on. It didn't matter if they could play worth a damn. They're just going to replace them all in the studio with Mike Slamer and other studio musicians. And have somebody write songs for them. We saw the same thing with grunge. You have the first wave of grunge. And I hate grunge, and I could still look at grunge and be like, but that first wave of grunge, there's merit there. I get it. And then they beat it into the ground,
Anybody
the record
with
companies.
a flannel shirt on and beat up Converse.
And
Anybody
before
who
you
knew
knew
how
it,
to imitate Eddie Vedder.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then by the mid part of the decade, we're getting 7 Mary 3. Like, what? This is what I'm talking about. That's superficial. But anyway, move on. My number 3, I felt terrible putting it in my worst. I really feel horrible putting this here. Scorpions Worldwide Live. Live. Yes.
Really?
I love the Scorpions. Here's what I actually wrote. I love the Scorpions so much, but this album for some reason just doesn't work. It just leaves me cold. And I don't know why. It feels completely sterile and safe and distant. And I feel like the music just does not work on this recording the way it does on the studio albums. And I love 80s Scorpions.
Wow.
A lot. I really, really do.
I'm really surprised. I just, even going back to it, I thought, this, I thought it sounded good.
Dude, I mean, I revisited this assuming that this was going to end up somewhere in my top 10.
Yeah.
And
I took for granted that it would be in your...
And I found myself, just my attention just kept, drifting off.
Okay, quick
I was
question.
skipping tracks.
This isn't the only live album they have?
No, they also got the Tokyo tapes.
that I mentioned
But
on
you like the other live album. This is just not.
No, I don't actually care for Tokyo tapes either.
Oh, really? Oh.
But that's an era that he doesn't like as much. So
yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, this is my favorite Scorpions era by a landslide. And, I've got the freaking Matthias Jobs signature series Explorer from the 80s. I am a Scorpions diehard fan. And this record just... I don't know why. It's like the magic isn't there for me.
No worldwide live for you.
No.
No va-va-voom for you.
And I feel bad. Like, I'm sorry, Scorpions. I love you. I feel bad for this.
Tell my boy, no like Scorpions.
No, he loves Scorpions.
No like live album.
My number 2.
What do you have at number 2?
My number 2 is a tie.
As a tie?
Yes.
A tie.
My number 2 is a tie between Live 84 from 1984 and Who's Got the 10.5 from 1986 by Black Flag.
Oh, look at you. Black Flag.
Yeah, and I wrote, I think I just don't like Black Flag. This is chaotic noise. I think they're just a shit band. They are a shit band. They hit hard coming out of the gate with some hardcore classics, I guess. And then Greg Ginn just decided, now we experiment. All we do is experiment. Now we do jazz, we do metal, we do all these things. We're going to do them all poorly and sloppily, but we're never going to give the fans what they wanted. And,
right, well, we'll talk about somebody who ended up being a dick.
Oh my God, yeah. And for a band that toured as relentlessly as they did, just like 7 shows a week, non-stop, year after year. And I listen to these recordings and I'm like, I feel like you guys should be a little bit better.
Well...
sometimes it's, it's not in their best interest to be better.
I guess.
You know what I mean?
And that experimentation shit, that was Henry.
No, it was Greg wanted to push.
Not according to Henry.
Henry's claiming that was his idea?
Sometimes he said that, yeah.
Well, I've been putting all the blame on Greg. So...
You guys need to read the same books.
I guess so.
Yeah.
All right, but my actual number 1 worst is The Misfits with Evil Live from 1987. Although the EP version came out in 1982, and what I wrote is, holy fuck, these guys were sloppy as shit live. At one point, Glenn Danzig comes in singing in the wrong spot in a song he wrote. And it was the first verse. He didn't know when to come in with the first verse in the song Night of the Living Dead. And they left that in.
Because those dudes are so punk, man. They're punk as fuck.
This album is terrible. It is so bad. It is so bad.
Glenn Danzig is terrible.
I don't really like them.
I actually like the Misfits a lot, but we're going to talk more about the Misfits in a future episode.
I think I know which episode that is.
Oh yes, there's gonna be a discussion about the Misfits coming.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
I think we need a little break.
Yeah.
We need a little break.
Mm-hmm.
Clear. It's mysterious. Incredible. It's bizarre. It's nasty. Ronnie, I bet you wonder what all the excitement is about. Well, let's just go find out.
The excitement is all the nasty savages having their hair done at Flair Family Hair Care inside the Brandon Mall on Highway 60.
Take it from us, Nasty Savage, and get your hair done at Flair.
Flair Family Hair Care, Brandon Boulevard inside the Brandon Mall.
Hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
I'm saving.
I'm recording over here.
Thinking saving and recording and
All
right.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Well, I guess it's time to get out of here.
Yeah,
bye 1980s
yes,
live
bye
albums.
1980s.
Done with this.
Whee.
All right. Well, anyway, this is the end of our
foolishness.
live albums of the year series. Getting out, and we'll be doing some assorted videos after this. I think we have a few assorted ideas.
Other things.
Do you know which one's airing next? Should we tell them now?
Shit.
Do we want to tease what's airing next, or do we want to let them just find out?
I think we do.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, actually, we have to do things in the order that they go in. See, it goes like this. This is how this goes.
Here's how it goes.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed,
oh yeah. Oh, they
please
start
subscribe.
ringing a
And if
bell.
you do,
There's a bell.
click the little
There we
bell.
go. There's a bell.
Notifications. But please come back next week because we will be ranking the Kiss album.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing a full discography ranking of Kiss. From the first album to the last album. And including the 478 solo albums.
So get your vodka and orange juice.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it's going to be a firehouse.
So all you Kiss dorks, come
Black
prepared to tell us.
Cozy up in your officially branded Kiss beanbag chair.
Yeah.
In your Kiss pajamas. Drinking out of your Kiss cup. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
And don't even begin to move. Don't move even a fucking hair. Because of course, look at that shit. I fucking, no, but it was like that, but that's the thing, you can move where you want to now, but when we start, it is where it is, and like the whole time, there's all this space over here, and no fucking space over there, and the entire time, I don't know if you felt the tension in the room, but it's because I'm looking at that going, I want to go fix that so bad.
I
The
did.
entire
You
time,
vibrated on my arm a
I
little.
was this close to doing it mid-second. Yeah.
This is excellent B-roll, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to the B-roll.
We got fun games. Because I don't trust you to do it right.
I can't be trusted. Honestly, I mean, we've established this.
Yes.
I'm unreliable.
You're unreliable.
Which means definitely don't let me narrate anything, because I'll just be an unreliable narrator.
It's unreliable. It's
unreliable.
It's. I don't know.
I don't know what's happening.
It's too early morning to be
I'm
clever.
confused.
For me, at
my
least.
energy is already slipping away.
Can it just slip away? Slip away.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Into 80s live albums.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're gonna do it.
All right. Okay.
We're gonna do it. Fabulous. That was some excellent Mick Jaggering.
I'm ready.
All right.
Fuck are you doing?
Oh, now I'm second guessing our frame.
Here, how's that? That make you
Okay.
happy?
Oh wow! Whoa!
So
Everything's
much
okay
better.
now.
All right.
Okay. All right. All right. 3, 2, 1.
All right.